Hello, Connective. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Comment, like, and subscribe without smashing anything. And let's get into this energy. This is an angels and ancestors reading for the water signs. Water signs. We're going to pull your... two want to come out. We're going to pull your overlying energy. And then if there's an individual message there, we'll talk about it. And then if not, we'll go right into Cancer. All right, so that was the Akashic deck. I'll pull one from the Universal Law. It's this one. All right. Pull and then we'll take a look. Actually, I think I want these up here. These are shuffled. I actually shuffled them quite a bit before I started. Let's see what we got. So, from the Akashic deck, we have the Eight of Forces, which is the lightning bolt, and the Queen of Scrolls. Let me just show you this card right here. This card always comes off as water to me, but this card is not water. We'll see. We'll see what's up. We also have the Law of Transcendence, revere the dark side of life. Just making a connection to that lightning bolt. We have the inner child, which was kind of what it looked like. Whoops. Wants to go back on the table. This is this other card. Sometimes these universal law cards, they're kind of like dim in their contrast. So sometimes they don't even, in really good light, you can't see them very well. All right, so you have Mother, Father, God. That's this card here. I'm not actually getting any individual messages by themselves here, except for I believe this like Law of Transcendence card is linked to this lightning bolt card, but still don't know where the Queen of Scrolls comes in. So let's pull some cards for Cancer. Let's see what's going on. I mean, the inner child, I'm not getting a lot except for, you know, stuff we have to heal from. And I feel like the Law of Transcendence is sort of there as kind of like what happens when we have something that we do have to heal from in our childhood. And, you know, obviously if we want to heal or be better or get away from it, we have to sort of overcome it. And a lot of times we have to deal with our inner child to do that, because we don't, I feel like we don't change much. You know, we are who we are. I mean, we can make changes to ourselves, but I don't really believe too much that we can change who we are. We can bend ourselves into a pretzel and, you know, try to be something that we're not. But I think that even if we successfully pull that off, we don't feel right. We don't feel like ourselves. We don't feel like we're expressing ourselves. There's a lot of ways that this could, you know, bother someone. It's almost like if you like change to become something, or, you know, I was going to say a rock star. I don't know why. But it's like if you like wanted to be like change to become like a rock star, like you wanted to become the rock star, and then you become the rock star, but then it's sort of like, it's almost like what's next, because when you're when you first think about something like that as a goal, you just think about that thing that I just said, being a rock star. You don't necessarily think about what it entails. You don't think about who you have to become to be that rock star, right? You're just in your head, you're like rock star, you know? But then let's say you like become that rock star, and then you realize that it's not just about being a rock star, right? It's about busy schedules. It's about, you know, learning new songs. It's about being disciplined enough to practice. It's about, you know, finding bandmates that you can get along with, or maybe you can't get along with them, so you have to replace bandmates, like all the things that go along with being a rock star, you know? And you can, again, like I said, bend yourself into a pretzel to become a rock star. But if you do that and you know you're not being you, then it gets to the point where, if you do get to the point where you want to get, it's not really fulfilling, because you know, I was going to say feel flat, which is weird, but, and then I was going to say feel dry. You know that you're not being authentic. So let's say that you become this rock star, right? But then you're not able to make the music that you want to make because you're not being yourself. If you were going to make the music that you wanted to make, like, people would think it was out of character because you let people bend you into a pretzel, to the point where if you really truly started like trying to express yourself in the way that you wanted to, that it would come off weird to people. Kind of something like that. I mean, the most important thing is that how it comes back, like, to you, how you feel about it, because you're the one that ultimately has to live with yourself. But it's all the things that would bother you. Like if you were to just give in, be somebody else to get where you wanted to be, and then you kind of went, wait, you know, what am I going to do now? Am I going to continue to move forward being not who I want to be, and not being fulfilled? This is what I wanted. Now I have what I wanted, but I'm not happy. I just told that whole story why these cards came out. So that is for someone and probably relevant to this reading. But let's pull the rest of these cards and see what's up here. A rock star. I mean, we could have also said an actor, like expressing yourself, but I feel like with music, it's more personal a lot of times with musicians, like with artists, because you know, they have an idea of what sound they want, or what they want, or, you know, lyrics that they want to use, you know, stuff like that. So it's not just about being an actor and then trying to fit to the right part. It's about, you know, literally expressing yourself through something that you're creating that happens to do with music, but this could apply to anything. So right now for Cancer, we have the woman holding a heart, but she's upside down. So she's over here next to this, the time of guilt and shame ends now. And then we have, actually, it's a real pretty card. Let me just show it to you. We'll get into what it says underneath. So for our second energy card, we have the 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel. So our crown, but it's upside down. And then that one's next to Focus Your Mind, which is also upside down. Interesting. We also have the 1st chakra, Archangel Michael. He is also upside down. And you have next to time. It's next to time. So you have 2 chakras on the table upside down. We have the Magician upside down. Archangel Raziel. So another angel next to take control of your thoughts. So again, interesting. We got focus your mind and take control of your thoughts, right? Then we have this 10 of Raphael. So love, blessings, fill your life. We'll get back to that. Stay the course. That's what is next to the 10 of Raphael. And then we have the sun on the bottom here with trust your angels. Okay. I'm picking this lightning bolt up now like a tower. Down here at the end, we have the 7 of Ariel. So we have Mother, Father, God. Yeah. Okay. So I think that this. Okay. So first of all, this inner child clearly would be you. this inner child, it is like what I said, like we're starting here. We're this person, how do I put it? It's kind of like what I said, when we deny this person, we I was going to say dig a bigger ditch. If we tried to move forward in a way where we ignored this person, eventually when get to the point, like I said, a point of where we thought we wanted to go, or in the middle of something or whatever it is, this is going to come back to kind of bite us, because this is the person that we have to actually heal. A lot of times what happens, especially when you're trying to fix yourself or to heal that childhood stuff, is a lot of times that stuff that we don't want to look at. Even as adults, sometimes it's hard to understand either how we felt at the moment, or what actually happened, or what was going on, whatever. And it's painful to look at, because the feelings that were attached to it were feelings that we had from our childhood. So a lot of times if we remember these feelings, they're very innocent, they're very pure, so it kind of compounds an issue sometimes when something bad enough happens to where you kind of see, where you changed in a way that wasn't good, like from hurt or something like that, right? But I feel like this, what I said looked like a tower, I feel like this didn't happen in childhood necessarily. This happened in adulthood. We took whatever we had from childhood and we didn't really do anything with it. We just kind of dragged whatever was there behind us like luggage, and then eventually like the strap broke on our bags, and so we were basically trying to pick up like all of our clothes and everything that we use, like, and try to put it back into this broken bag, and that wasn't a thing. So I feel like I was going to say this was meant to happen. I mean, I don't think you were necessarily meant to go through something to the point where like your bag kind of exploded. But I think that with your free will, you might have taken it there. You just didn't want to look at it, didn't want to look at it. And I don't think that it was just sitting there festering from childhood. I feel like you were like piling it on, because when we don't want to look at it, a lot of times there is something in there. And if we don't deal with our triggers or whatever's going on, these situations can not only repeat themselves, which they don't have to necessarily cause more pain, but we can just pile ideas on top of it. We can pile resistance on top of healing on top of it. We can do all kinds of, we can do whatever we want to with that energy. We don't have to transmute it, right? We can play with it. We can grow it. We can, become really upset about something that happened in our childhood to the point where it kind of sort of dwarfs our adulthood, right? So I feel like this tower kind of came in and just, like I said, kind of exploded your bag to the point where when you kind of were, I just got a picture of somebody standing there with like their hands on their head, like just looking at everything on the floor. It's like you got to the point where you were like, what do I want to keep? What do I want to pick up and take with me? And, it's almost kind of like, what can I carry? So this woman holding heart upside down, I feel like some incident or something happened. Maybe you caused it, maybe you didn't, but whatever it was, whatever it did, it piled on things from childhood, right? And then we didn't really see it coming, because we didn't really understand how those things tied together from adulthood, like from childhood to adult, like inner adulthood. Because sometimes when we become adults, we kind of feel more free, like we can make decisions on our own and we're not subject to certain things. But the certain things we cannot get away from, because they're not separate from us. It's part of us and our strength. And, a lot of qualities that we bring as adults that are like redeeming qualities was stuff that we brought with us from childhood. It was stuff that we held the integrity of, we brought through with us. And those were the things that made us stronger. But the things that we didn't want to deal with, and the things that just kind of sat there and maybe we even piled on or made worse, those were the things that made us weaker. And sometimes in situations that those weak spots stand out and make things worse. We have the time of guilt and shame ends now. Forgive yourself and begin to love yourself just as you are. So this kind of reminds me of like what I said about bending yourself into a pretzel. It's almost like if you do happen to bend yourself into a pretzel and it's not good enough, then it is sort of shocking. And like I said, it sort of rehashes that idea that you're not good enough. But I feel like that you already felt like you weren't good enough to bend yourself into a pretzel. This is kind of like what we're talking about, Cancer, right? And then we have focus your mind. Thank you, angels, for helping me to focus on my priorities. So this card is also upside down. I think through all of this, we hadn't really thought about what we did want for ourselves. Sometimes I feel like it takes a situation where we act in a way where we wish we would have acted in another way for us to kind of look at that. So I feel like this card is kind of saying that you need to sort of decide who you are. And I guess usually I just talk about reinventing yourself, but I feel like this has to go along with like who you've always been. Like if you've been denying that person, you cannot decide who you're going to be and then deny that person anymore. It's not going to work for you. And then you have this root chakra upside down. So Archangel Michael again, not being grounded. And I think, again, like I say, I don't know if I exactly said it earlier, but I feel like when we don't deal with our inner child, it like kind of shakes our foundation. And the thing is, again, like I said, if you have a situation in your life where you need your foundation, that's going to make that situation just a little bit harder. And again, like I said, if we keep ignoring this, then that thing that happens that shakes your foundation, like it makes everything worse. It piles on. It does not make us want to go inside and look at what's really gone. I mean, sometimes we have to really be devastated to kind of go in there and say, you know what, let's stop. Let me figure out what's in there and what's going on. But, sometimes when things are just uncomfortable enough, we'll just kind of coast on that, especially if we're getting what we like, something that we want out of it, if we consider it to be even a trade-off. And then this says it's time. You're being asked to move forward toward the dream that you've been carrying in your heart. It's time to bring it out into the world. You're ready. It's time. So I kind of feel like too, when we're trying to do something new, all that old stuff that was in our bag that like basically didn't fit in our bag, we're not able to bring anything new and put it in that bag. We literally have to buy another bag, and I really like this analogy that I'm using because, it's kind of like how we talk about baggage, I remember one time I asked a friend if he was okay because he was just going through something. And I knew he was going through something because I could see it on him. But, he wasn't talking about it. And I remember he did this thing. I don't know if I've told this story before on camera, but he did this thing where he goes, I don't know why people, and then he kind of like reached down like he was going to grab a backpack, and then he kind of like pretended like he threw it over his shoulder, and then he kind of pretended like he just started walking. And he was kind of saying like, I don't know why people take everything with them. And it was like, I understood that. I could see that something was bothering him. He wasn't necessarily stewing in it. He didn't necessarily want to talk about it, but he wasn't necessarily getting hit with lightning either, because like I said, this is an effect from a lot of times from what we pile on. So if we're not piling things on in the first place, even if we bring stuff from our childhood, we don't make it worse. You know what I mean? And I feel like this does have something to do with trying to make yourself something for someone else, and then basically like having this happen. Basically kind of getting the idea that like I did all this I was going to say did all this to be worthy and I'm still not worthy, but that's not what I was thinking. But, I guess worthy is a really loose term. Like I said, sometimes we'll do stuff because we want something. And so we don't consider it the fact that we're not worthy when we don't get it. We just think of it as something else. We didn't get it or whatever. But I do feel like if you did something that was like against character, you just like went along with an idea that you didn't really like because the team was a good team, or, you know, something like that. And then you got kicked off the team. Like, just know that that was supposed to happen. You don't belong on that team if you're playing from a pretzel place. Sorry, let's go on. So we have the Magician upside down. So sorry. So this is, you can manifest the life you want. What you need will magically appear, successful beginnings. But remember, this one's upside down, and it's next to take control of your thoughts, which again comes back to focus your mind, which had to do with your priorities. So this one says, take control of your thoughts. Your thoughts are creating your reality. Have faith and stay focused on the outcome that you truly desire. So again, it's kind of like what I said about like deciding. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? Like, it doesn't have to be this master plan. It can just be a direction, an idea of, I don't want to be this, I want to be this, or I do want to heal, or, you know, I see what I did wrong here, let me do something else. I mean, this isn't necessarily suggesting that you go in, you know, and find that inner child and figure out what they need. I think it's just more saying that when you're in the moment, or you're in situations, or you're like right in the middle of the thing where you know, happen to be trying to change to fit the situation, that you need to remind yourself of what you wanted when you went into it, what either your intention was, or the thing you wanted to get out of it, or something, and then ask yourself if your actions are aligned with that. If your actions are aligned with that and you're going with your passion, then you're not really doing anything wrong, even if it feels a little weird. If you don't feel appreciated, or something else is going on, and then you think about it and you look at it and you're dealing with something that you're not passionate about, and you have to change to make something work for somebody else, or whatever's going on, I mean, this could be work, love, or life, then most likely you're going to keep getting more and more uncomfortable, even if you weren't messing with your inner child, which you probably are. But I think it's only because the idea here is that you're kind of ignoring what's in front of you as far as like what bothers you, and then having to act on something that will add on to that, and then having to deal with the pieces afterwards, because if you have to do that to begin with people that are around you, they're not going to necessarily be there to help you out. Like, you are this Queen of Pentacles. Like, whether you're a man, woman, you know, you're the Queen of Pentacles. But in order to be that Queen of Pentacles, that inner child cannot be unhappy. And then you have the Ten of Raphael. Love and blessings fill your life. Harmonious relationships with family members. Happily ever after. So you got that like 10 of Cups energy. Next to stay the course. Don't panic. You're not on the wrong path. You're just having a bumpy start. Learn from your experiences and keep going. So this is what I'm talking about. This is like a work project or something. It's not as serious. Like, there might be something that could be bothering you about it. That might be a trigger that does have something to do with your past. Doesn't necessarily have to be childhood. Could be anything. And it could be anything. Like, you could literally be like a scientist and you don't like bugs, but you have to deal with bugs. Like, it could be something like that. But it's telling you that, like I said, if you're not out of alignment with what's going on around you, if you don't feel like you're in the wrong place, if you don't feel like you have to be somebody else to do what you're trying to do, especially if there's other people involved, then this card is telling you to keep going. And then we have the Sun, which is Archangel Uriel. Life is wonderful. Thrive through the power of positive thinking and inspiring success. So I feel like, again, if the situation is just uncomfortable, or what did it call it, bumpy, then you're just going through what you're going through. But if you feel like you're piling it on, then I would not say to stay the course on that. I would say to go back over here and either focus your mind on your priorities or take control of your thoughts. And then we have trust your angels. Let go of your expectations of how your dreams will come true. Trust that heaven has a perfect plan. See, I kind of feel like this is a little bit of a manifesting card, and it's a possibility that if you were doing something to try to get something, manifest something, then again, if you're piling on stuff that you either want or don't think you're going to get or don't think you're worthy for, or whatever is going on, then you're going to block yourself. This is saying that the word expectations is really standing out, and trust your angels. And I feel like kind of like when we go, well, I want this and I want it to look like that and I want it to do that and I want it to be like this. I feel like in a way we're not trusting our angels or not trusting the universe, because most of the time when I'm manifesting, I kind of know that the universe knows better than like what I like than I do. It's a really weird way to put it, but I could like name 3 different instances where I was like, I didn't even really know I wanted that. And the universe just kind of brought it to me because I didn't have expectations of what I wanted. I didn't have these grand, like I didn't pile more stuff on what I wanted and make it harder to get. In fact, you know, with very little resistance, you can kind of get like almost exactly what you get, even if nobody's ever heard of that before. Like when you manifest furniture, like this is what I'm talking about. The thing doesn't exist. You're looking everywhere for it. You're like, this must exist. This has to be a thing. I can't be the only person who wants 3 shelves and some bars to wrap some vines around and blah, 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 right? And then boom, it's on the internet the next day. Might take a couple months because somebody needs to build it, but you know what you want. Like I said, you can do this over and over again. All that furniture will match. You have the 7 of Ariel. You have invested wisely. Have patience and wait for the harvest. Review your progress and make plans for your next endeavor. I thought it said calculator. It's light. It's just colored cards with white writing. But yeah, I did pick this up too as the work that you're putting in. So again, if you're in a situation where you're not putting in work that is, you feel isn't warranted, or doesn't match what you're trying to do, or you don't feel good about it, then that's probably not what you're trying to do. If you're in this energy, then yeah, you're probably moving exactly in the energy that you need to move with. Your inner child might be there and you might have to deal with your inner child, but I feel like if you're in this energy, you're not like piling more on it. And then you have stop looking outside yourself for the answers. You already know them. This card keeps coming out. And then again, you can always ask your angels. You can just kind of go inside and think about it, focus on your priorities, like it says, taking control of your thoughts, but not going into detail or making it too important or anything, like I said, that would pile it on. And then we have let go of the old and make way for the new. You might find yourself being distracted by random thoughts, fears, or doubts. Don't allow yourself to be governed by them. Simply observe and choose to take aligned actions and choices. And this is kind of like what I was talking about too, about your suitcase, you have to make room for the new. And I just saw it like on YouTube the other day, and it was just like a piece of a video that like played, but it was basically saying like you have to get rid of something if you want to make room for the new. And we always say that, but I didn't realize sometimes like how much stuff people really carry around. Like I remember a lot of things. I have a really good memory. But I'm not attached to my memories. I'm not attached to a memory that, when somebody hurt me, or attached to a memory, if I'm going to attach to a memory, it might as well be a good memory. You know what I mean? And again, if I want to pile something on, that's going to be what I want to pile on. Something good. And believe it or not, the effects are the same. If you were going to try to like be positive and like pile stuff on, and then you were literally going to try to be negative and pile stuff on, the level of devastation of piling stuff on, the negative stuff, it far surpasses the level of whatever you want to call the opposite of devastation over on the other side. You'd be amazed on how that can come through sometimes when you just think about one terrible thing after another, as opposed to one good thing after another. So you have to consider that too with this focus your mind card that's coming up. If you're doing that, if you're piling it on, the reason why you're having such a rough time is because you are doing it to yourself. And I say it a lot on this channel. You have this magician upside down, which means you have power. You're just you're using it wrong. Totally covering up the magician, and the intrusive ring light isn't helping. But yeah, you need to start looking at where you're doing that. And one of the ways that you can do that is if you're in a situation, you start to feel worse about it. You start to feel worse about it. You start to feel worse about it. Are you going around and around your head? Is somebody else going around and around in your head? Because that's not helpful no matter what you're dealing with. Keep that in mind, Cancer. We're going to move on to Pisces. Pisces, it is your turn. cards are shuffled. Just gonna move them around a little bit, maybe. And then, what's that? It's our crown chakra just hanging out, wanting to sort of separate, but we'll see. Alrighty then. What is that? Oh, I thought that was I thought that was the crown chakra again. I was like, don't I still have it in my hand? Like, what the heck? Huh. Okay. So we got the temple path in reverse here. We have the 6th chakra. Is that Metatron? Yep. 6th chakra. Archangel Metatron. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm looking at this card for the first time. That's interesting. And then we have the door to spirit. That one's upright. All right, so let's go. We're going to pull one of these. Oh, this one's first. Pisces, what is going on with you? Got the temple path upside down. Huh. Okay. Door to spirit. So this is kind of almost looking like a spiritual awakening. But there's an element here that's doesn't usually pop up in the spiritual awakening readings. That was awesome. So we'll see. We'll see what that is. Might be part or some of a separate message here. Let's see. Yeah, it's sort of like the cards that I would get during like a reading that was about a spiritual awakening. Like they're coming out either upside down. I'd be curious to know what those are here. After I pull these. So, signs. I mean, aside from all the the angel cards, there really are a lot of angels in these readings, like just kind of showing up. Okay. Yeah, it sort of looks like you're trying to do something. I mean, the temple path usually is spiritual awakening, and it is sitting there upside down. And sometimes we say that's because you're fighting your spiritual awakening. I'm not sure that that's really what's going on. I mean, it could be. I mean, if we're talking about something like, you know, trying to like run away from it and like kind of like the last reading, like piling stuff on to that, we could be making it worse. No, this is like a situation. It's not extremely clear. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm curious to what these say. Okay. I feel like there's a tiny bit of love in here. But this is not just about love either. So a little bit of spiritual awakening, a little bit of like inner child, which is going to be healing, a little bit of kind of like the gifts that would come to you like through a spiritual awakening, and I mean like the spiritual gifts, but then also a little bit of like the abundance that comes with it. It's not extra. It's not like being specific. But there's angels here and they're watching. So let's look at a wonderful surprise is coming. Something entirely new awaits you. Okay. This looks like Okay. So yeah, those things that I said, but it's almost like we went through some stuff. So Cancer was piling it on, right? So they may or may not have been healing, but something, either one something, one situation or a bunch of somethings was kind of starting to get a little bit more intense because of a little bit of like Cancer's behavior to hang on to stuff, want to kind of take stuff with them kind of thing. Maybe even being a pack rat and trying to bring things that don't necessarily need to come. I feel like with this, I feel like you've sort of already been through that, Pisces. And I feel like you're doing another round. So a lot of times with us, when we go in to heal something, even like, okay, so with our inner child, like even when we go in there to like heal something, sometimes it's so painful or it's attached to something else, so we only get to heal from it partially. We might even do some deep healing and we might think we're done, right? But then there's something else that's down there, and like I said, possibly linked to something else so right now I'm dealing with this one thing and it's very hard. And then this other thing that it's linked to, like if I want to heal that, I actually have to get into that other thing. And right now I'm just not willing to do that. I'm like, I'll heal this thing here, but I can't look at that thing right now and deal with that with this thing. So when I'm dealing with my inner child, I'm just going to do the best I can. I might even, like I said, think that I'm healing everything, but somehow I feel like you kind of know, like even when you're done healing, that you're not done healing, right? So I feel like this is why the temple path is upside down. You're not starting a spiritual awakening. I mean, everybody's on a spiritual awakening. You're not starting a new path of something that you're doing right now. Like you're continuing. You've already been doing it. The issue is that you sort of like kind of finished, which you never do, but you kind of got to the point where you're like, I got this, I did that, I kind of am on my game, I got, done. And then something happened, like a trigger, or maybe you just got wind of the fact that there was something else that you're ready to deal with now, or maybe your body just sometimes when we find ourselves in a safe place for long enough, our brain will start to try to work through that stuff. So I feel like you've been in a safe place for a little while. You've been dealing with your inner child. You've been transcending. You maybe have been through that lightning bolt, but at this point you kind of know you're the queen, right? And then this Mother, Father, God here, which is just basically, I feel like them watching, like angels, ancestors, everybody. And then it's like talking about like a fresh start or like a surprise, right? Did it say new? Something entirely new awaits you. So it's like you're doing it again, but it will be different because you're being able to touch the things that you weren't able to touch before, which is going to bring a lot more. It's not just about healing. Like your demeanor is going to change because there's certain things that you're going to let go of because you're going to be done dealing with those because you've pretty much cleaned everything out. And this is the last step, right? And then this one says signs from heaven. Thank you, heaven, for sending me reminders of your presence. So I feel like they're kind of like all over the table. So I kind of also feel like it's a possibility that you may feel like they're with you on some occasions. You might see numbers, see the numbers on the clock, or you might see something else where you kind of go, wow, that's really remarkable. I feel like they're like the divine is present, something like that. And then you have this door to spirit, and then with this detached card. So I feel like the detached card is telling us to let go of some of that stuff that we are still holding on to. We may not know what all that stuff is. Sometimes when after I'd healed for a while, I remember like sometimes the tarot card readings would be like, oh, you have to let something go. And I'd be like, what else is there to let go? Like, I just don't even know anymore. Like, are we talking about something tangible and I want to keep or what? Like, I was just clueless. I feel like sometimes it's going to pop up on its own when it's like that. Like you'll realize, oh, I still feel a certain way about this, like strongly, or, you'll realize that you're like attached to something, I kind of want to explain attached in 3 different ways, but I kind of feel like when you see it, you'll know it kind of thing, because we always say attached. Oh, I don't really need that. Like when somebody says, oh, can I have this pen? And I say, I'm not really attached to that pen, but even if I was, I could let it go. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like a lot of times we're not exactly sure what we're attached to. And then unless somebody tries to take it away. Right. And then this one says, you're being asked to detach from something that you've been, does it say building onto? No, holding on to. Yeah, this is like, I tried to turn the light down, which that's not a thing, but it's totally bright, but I guess not bright enough for me to like read my cards. Hold on a second. So yeah, it's say holding on to. I mean, I can't see it right now, but I know that's what it says. All right. Detach from something that you're holding on to. When we hold on too tightly in the it says hold on too tightly in the desired outcome. When we hold on too tightly to the desired outcome, it restricts the flow. Trust that the outcome will work out and let go of attachment to it. Yeah, we're just talking about attachment. I was looking for it on the table. It's not really on the table, but it is. So then we have this card here, right? So this one is the Knight of Raphael. So this is like romantic, this is one of the cards. I didn't pick it up as much from this card, but I kind of got love from the card. So I feel like something happened, or maybe it's just like I say, something we're bringing with us that's like an idea. Like say we have an idea about love because of something that happened in the past, but we won't let that go. Like it doesn't matter who's in front of us, we will not let that idea of love is this way, no matter who's in front of us. Like I say, when we're attached to an idea like that, it's very hard for us to see that we're like attached to that weird idea. Like the idea has to be weird for us to realize that we're attached to it. But if we don't recognize that it's weird, then we kind of don't realize what's happening because we're making it our reality. So I kind of feel like there's a little bit of that here. Like I feel like when it does happen, you'll see it when you start to get faced with things that you're attached to that aren't important to you, then you'll see it. You'll go, oh, why do I want to hang on to that? You'll start to realize, oh, maybe I have this like hoarding energy, or maybe I'm afraid to let stuff go because I feel like people are going to take. It's something like that, right? So not attachment, like I love that thing, I don't want to let it go, but attachment of like, how come I always have to have this here? Why do I have to have this, right? Especially if it's hurting me. Why does this need to be here? And then, so this is like committed romantic relationships, but it's upside down. And then we have it next to this, it's almost over card. Your current challenges will soon be resolved, and you will be able to look to the future with a smile. So I feel like this is the cycle a little bit of going back through it again, realizing that, there are angels and ancestors, loved ones with us, angels for sure. We have this detached card kind of warning us around this area of love to not hold on to certain ideas, certain things. And then we have this card that's telling us it's almost over, kind of like what we had for Cancer, which was that keep going card, right? And then then we have this Three of Swords, and this is upright. So the Three of Swords is release the past. You will grow from this situation. Time heals all wounds. Next to be a light to others. And that one says you have a powerful message to share. Shine your light to the world so that others can learn from you. So again, I kind of feel like whatever happened, if this is the past, if this is now, I mean, it could be. You might think you kind of healed something, and then you're faced with a situation that kind of triggers you. And if you're being triggered, then it's something from the past that's relevant. Like I say, sometimes it's hard to Tie things together. I'll give you a good example. I do have a good example for this. So a lot of people don't realize what third-party situations are, right? They hear third-party situation and they think, oh, it's a third person in my relationship. It's a third party. This, okay, well, a third party could be anything. If I'm married and my husband thinks I work too much and I'm an alcoholic, I was going to say alcoholic, but I mean a workaholic. If I'm a workaholic, then my work, that place that I go that's getting in the way of my relationship, that's a third party. So sometimes we're like, well, I'm not really attached to anything, but I can't stop working overtime. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. And you don't necessarily know that you can't stop working overtime until you try. This is what I'm talking about. So when you get through a situation, you're like, oh, I take care of myself, I work out, and then, if somebody says, I sleep, I eat well, and then, somebody says, well, how many hours a week do you work? And you're like, 120, right? Then, you kind of realize, oh, maybe I'm attached to the idea of going to work. And it might not even be the work. It could be an escape mechanism. It doesn't matter what caused the attachment, right? It's the same outcome. The only difference is, am I doing this out of my own free will, or is this something that's happening, because of habit? And then sometimes we can change that based on whatever it is and how much we like to do it, or what we're getting from it. So we have the Six of Gabriel. Congratulations, you've done a wonderful job. Time to move on to the next project. Awards, scholarships, and promotions. So again, I kind of feel like when you get to the point where you're kind of going through certain steps of detaching, of kind of like looking at these relationships, they don't have to be romantic. They can be any type of relationship. That something that would cause this Three of Swords energy. I mean, you could have a job and really care about that job and have something happen at that job that will break your heart. And you don't necessarily have to love that job for that to happen. You just have to be a person with feelings and sensitivity and caring about something. So again, just when there's a certain thing or a certain idea, it's not necessarily tied to what most people think it would tied to. When you're going in and you're talking about your inner child, or like doing any kind of shadow work and everything, you'd be surprised what things are like attached together that actually they don't belong together. We did that because of a situation that had both components or something like that. Angels of healing are with you. A time of healing is about to bless your life. Accept Archangel Raphael's emerald green light while I enhance your strength. So we have Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael here. And Raphael here. And Michael here. And then we have Gabriel. And we have any other angels? Oh, Metatron. So as we get through this Three of Swords energy of telling you to still be strong. You have to pay attention to what's going on. I mean, I think you're at a state right now where nobody needs to tell you to be strong. Like I would be surprised if the Strength card was here. But sometimes we do. Sometimes we're in the middle of stuff and we're kind of like, yeah, this is a little bit worse than last time, or something to that effect. Like you kind of feel like you've done this before, but then at the same time it's like kicking your ass. So the second time around, you're digging deeper. You're going for something that you couldn't do the first time, or whatever is happening, just let it happen. And be the best you that you can be, because once you come through this, you're going to have this victory at your hands. And angels, not only angels are with you, but angels of healing are with you. And then this says, live your life with both feet in. Commit fully to being here. This is kind of like what I was getting when I was talking about going through this, like being present. I feel like it's extremely important, because the more you notice, the more you pay attention to that's being shown to you at this time, the more not only you can heal from it, but you'll also learn something in like situations where things that you didn't necessarily have to experience because you were paying attention. And then you have open your heart, not just a little, all the way, and let the love flow in. So again, I kind of feel like last time when you went through this, you either had a Three of Swords situation afterwards, or there was some idea that you held on to that caused this card to still be upside down, this card that has a little bit to do with love on it. It's almost like a residual of something that wasn't cleaned out because of some idea that you still wanted to hold on to about dating or about people or about love. And it's kind of telling you that you only healed a little bit from that. You only opened your heart up a little bit from that. If you want somebody to come towards you with an open heart, you need to open your heart. If you want somebody to come to you who's only got 20% of their heart open, then only open 20% of your heart. That's basically what this card is telling me. And I think we're going to move on to Scorpio. All right, Scorpio, it's your turn. Let's see what's popping up for you. So basically these cards up top are kind of like where you're basically everybody's needing to watch their inner child. We've got Mother, Father, God here, which is kind of telling me angels, ancestors, you know, watching over you, spirit guides. We have this lightning bolt here, which it does look a little bit like a tower to me. It looks like a happening, or maybe just a long-term situation that you needed, I was going to say strength for, and then, you know, and then basically what's been happening as well is that everybody's been sort of showing up as their potential, as like the Queen of Pentacles. So whether or not you know that that's your potential, we've got this Queen of Pentacles energy underneath this like tower energy. We were talking about Cancer kind of trying to change themselves to fit a situation in loose terms. And then we were talking about Pisces kind of going another like go around on kind of healing. Basically kind of like we went through this, we healed it once, now we're coming back around again to like fully heal it kind of thing. And right now with you, it looks like it could be similar to Pisces. I don't know about a second go around necessarily, but I see some issues here and some things that we need strength for, but I also see a cause to celebrate. So we'll see what's going on with that. I feel like I'm being crowded. Leaning Tower of Tarot. We've got, okay, these are next. Celebrate with the Strength card. That's kind of interesting. We have our Peaceful Warrior next to the man holding a heart, and he's upside down. And we have the Thinking Woman over here upside down. Next to, what is that card? Success? Don't get old. Success and happiness are coming. Okay. Honestly, I started needing reading glasses when I was like in my 20s because I would go to work for 8 hours and I would go home and I would like read a book or sit on the computer, read a book or whatever was going on. And my eye doctor was like, you're wearing out your eyes. You need reading glasses. And now there's no contact lenses without it. All right, let's see if we can get the rest of these cards on the table. What? I swear that just... Let me just make sure I can see it properly. Let me get back to it. All right. Last three. You know what's weird is I've been through all these decks, and lately I've been kind of like, I don't remember seeing that card. Like I don't remember ever getting that card. I don't remember reading that card. All right. These are coming out upside down, but we don't really take them upside down. I mean, we have and we can. That looks like a repeat card too for some reason. Yeah. What is this? Decision. Okay, a little bit different in the way of, okay, so like we said, Cancer was piling it on. Pisces was doing another round. Like I say, for you, I don't necessarily know about another round. We could be doing the first round of healing here. I've got like promises of stuff coming. So I have the thinking woman, she's upside down, and she's next to success and happiness are coming. Enjoy and celebrate life. And then we have that next to this man holding a heart upside down. And then he's next to the peaceful warrior, which is Archangel Ariel. Yeah, we got a few angels on the table. So Archangel Ariel, thank you, Ariel, for helping me stand my ground with peace. So I kind of feel like that's like you being who you are, who you want to be, or defending your position as who you are. And then this man holding a heart, I feel like, is you needing to heal from like some part of love, like some idea or some happening, something from love. This thinking woman is coming off as overthinking. She's upside down. We have the promise of success and happiness in the middle, which usually is it's like a promise of like, okay, when you heal from this, better stuff will come. I mean, it would have to, like, it doesn't have to be science. Like, it would have to, because when you get to yourself to a point where you're not like depressed or holding on to the past or like significantly like angry, like when you meet someone new and you're angry about something that happened in the past, you're just going to come off as angry, right? And then if that person isn't angry, it's just going to kind of look funny. You're going to either look not healed or look something else. And I mean, sometimes we don't care about that necessarily, especially if we think we found the right person or whatever. But if we're just talking about dating, that's like a huge red flag. Like, you know, it's like sitting down and talking about, you know, your ex in a way where, you know, you can tell you're really upset. And it's like, again, being upset isn't a big deal, and you can even voice that to somebody. But it's a question of, are we willing to heal from it, or do we want to hang on to it? Are we trying to get it out of our system, or are we just trying to perpetuate it by talking about it and talking about how awful it was? And then we have the strength card next to celebrate. So I feel like celebrate is on there twice. Maybe, maybe not. We'll get to it. This one says you're being asked to celebrate a recent accomplishment, no matter how big or small. Do something special to commemorate the, what does that say? It's freaking orange. The moment. Commemorate the moment. You deserve that and so much more. So after strength, celebrating. Like, I feel like, again, like this is just kind of like one thing after another. Like, I did this tarot card reading for myself the other day, and all the cards were literally just, yeah, I remember when that happened. I remember when that happened. I remember when that happened. This is like a 10-month span, and then there's this, and you know, and I kind of feel like this is pretty much the same way. I mean, especially like I say with the inner child on the table and the law of transcendence. And then this is the 5 of Raphael. Everything happens for a reason. Release regret and enhance the opportunities for happiness. Search for the silver lining. So yeah, I kind of feel like, again, like when it's after and we do have a cause to celebrate, usually the cause to celebrate is the fact that we're out of it. You know, I feel like this card is saying enjoy that, like enjoy being out of it. So not just the act of getting out of it and celebrating like being free, but also the fact that you are out of it, like you're like wholly you know. And then we have angels of healing are with you, but this one is upside down. So for Pisces, it was kind of like a reminder. I feel like for you, this is more of like, I feel like you kind of know that, maybe not the angels part, or maybe, you know, like if you don't believe or 100% that someone's healing you or something like that, I think to a certain extent, you kind of know you're healing. Like you kind of know that either there's something you need to heal from or something that you're healing. But even if you didn't know there was something you needed to heal from, I feel like there's certain parts of it that are healing slowly anyway. And then you have this 3 of Michael here. So this guy came out for you, again, was just out for Pisces, upright. So this is releasing the past again. And then this is next to you're ready for more, upside down. So I feel like it's going to be like a hot second in this energy of after we sort of get out of it, like kind of like processing that. And I feel like that's why you're ready for more is upside down. I feel like it's not necessarily time to make any changes to move forward in a way that's different than what you've been experiencing, because I feel like if you're in this 3 of Michael, you're still kind of in this energy of where you were before you needed to celebrate kind of thing. And then we have this decision card, which is Archangel Jophiel. Release yourself from that which holds you back a need to detox unnecessary worry based on a lack of confidence. See, and I feel like that goes back to our inner child. The decision itself, so when you go through that stuff, like, we don't talk about this a lot. I mean, I say you're going to change, but it's like the change is a lot more significant. We talk about the healing, but the change is a lot more significant because when you become somebody new, even if, like, maybe I was going to say you don't recognize yourself, like, by some miracle, you're still the you recognize, if that makes sense. And I feel like this decision card is going with this card right here, which is you will manifest what you need. Express gratitude as if your plants have already come, or your plants. I was going to say, as if your plants have already grown. No, as if your plans have already come to pass. Trust that your angels are bringing you the assistance that you need. So angels, yes, but again, I feel like this is you. Oh, wow, this actually says you right here. Let's see if we can get that light to spin around and sort of show it. But yeah, I feel like this is you. And I feel like this is basically you deciding what or how you want to manifest. So once we get through this area where we need strength and we come down here and we're talking about our healing, when we become that new person afterwards, the question is, what do we want? Because, well, what do we want? What do we want to be? I mean, that I feel like changes just a little bit. Like, even if we truly know what we want, I feel like when we change, our wants change a little bit. Some of the things that we used to, like, we've been talking about attachment in this reading. Some of the stuff that we used to be attached to, we may not care about anymore. We might want different stuff, and then that would be the opportunity to start trying to manifest differently or different things than what we were trying to do before. Maybe before we just wanted money. We were like, I just want to be able to pay things, or I just want to have all the money that I want. And then now we're kind of like, you know what, I think I want love, or I want something else. I think I want my freedom. I think I want to do that career I never wanted to do, or learn that thing I never learned. Because now I'm a person. I feel strong enough to go skydiving now. Stuff like that, right? And then this card says, check in with your body and release any tension you are carrying. So I kind of feel like this is part of the process. Sometimes when we get tense enough, we'll do things like we won't necessarily take a deep breath, or we can't take a deep breath, or we're not breathing. We're kind of holding our breath, or we're getting these pains, but they're significant enough pains, but we're ignoring them because we're distracted, because we're going through other stuff. Presence came up for Pisces. You needed to be paying attention to what was going on around you, so that not only could you see what was happening, but you could learn something in the process. And then this says self-awareness is key. So take time today to go within and spend time with your soul. Go for a walk in nature and ground yourself. Meditate, listen to your favorite music, whatever you enjoy most, do that today. And see, this is kind of like what I'm talking about when I say that, you might have wanted to do something every day. Let's say you just wanted to play basketball every single day. You got up and you just want to play basketball. Whether or not you were able to actually get that ball and go out on the court, that's what you wanted to do. And then you went through all this stuff and you kind of changed it a little bit, and you realize that you like soccer. That's what I'm talking about. And so for all three signs, I would definitely say, your inner child is on the table. If you haven't healed, or you haven't, thought about it, or you have triggers about certain things, especially certain things that you want to heal from, I feel like this card is telling you that now is an opportunity. Now is the time. We had the It's Time card on the table earlier. And this law of transcendence too. It's not here for nothing. We're always transcending, but again, like, our inner child could very well be tantruming that whole thing, holding it back if we're not paying attention to it. We're not being present, right? We're not thinking about, sometimes we're the most fun when we're being, sometimes we see like adults playing with children, and it looks like a lot of fun, and they look like great people. Oh, he's a great father, he's playing with his child. Part of it is that he gets an opportunity to be a child again sometimes. And some people need that. Some people love that. Some people want that. So when they go ahead and they just become that, they get to play that out, and I think become happier people because of it. It's like the opposite of a child who wants to, or an adult who wants to play with the child, but doesn't let themselves. Doesn't want to get dirty, or doesn't want to come down to the child's level and play with the blocks because, they might wrinkle their, something. when the person just gets down and like connects with the child, and people make all these other assumptions about, oh, they're such a great with children. Yeah, maybe they're just a child themselves, or being a child, or allowing themselves to be a child to connect with that child. And again, you don't have to go through healing to do that or whatever. You just have to be able to let yourself go and be present. So everybody's going through some kind of stage. I am picking this up as a tower, but it doesn't have to be a tower moment. It could just be happening, something different. You wake up one morning, you're like, I just want to play soccer. And then I feel like everybody needs to be reminded that you are this queen. I was going to call her the queen of, Pentacles, but she's the Queen of Scrolls. Yeah. So a lot of times too, that's cerebral. That's when we're deciding what we want to do with stuff. If we're deciding we want to transcend, or we're deciding how we want to go in our inner child, or we're forming opinions about, who's watching over us, who's protecting us, or what's destined for us in this Mother, Father, God card here. And we said it for one or two of the other readings, but be present. Enjoy it. I keep talking about enjoying the ride. Like, yeah, I mean, sometimes this Three of Swords isn't fun. But, we have to celebrate, and you have stuff that is fun. So enjoy it. This is what I'm saying. The Sun card was on the table earlier. Enjoy it. Keep that in mind, water signs, until we meet again.